Welcome to another episode of Scholarly Soundbites. Today we are joined by Srijit Panja, who is a very innovative mind in terms of the field of AI, data science, and all the other fields that he is actively engaged in. We're pretty sure that his insightful views and ideas about this world would give us much to learn from and much to know. We are very grateful to have you on board. Please, could you introduce yourself and say a bit about yourself to our viewers and listeners?
Hey, hi. Thanks, Kaushik, for firstly calling me here. Um, yeah, so as you mentioned already, so I work as a data scientist currently, and I've been working in this field for the last 5 years now. Um I started in 2019, just as I was doing my masters. So that time, right from that time, I was initially into freelances and freelance um, like short-term projects, contracts, because I was that time a student. So, and also kind of internships, then research papers, publishing papers. That gradually transcended, and then when I just finished my masters 2 years in 2021, right from there uh, transitioned into the industry, and right from there I joined as a junior data scientist. So my trajectory in career has and there has been a bit of trajectory over the last few years. Currently, I work as a senior data scientist with Arivonix. Yeah, so that's what I do mostly. Yeah.
That's very interesting, but you would not often see a lot of data scientists and people who are dabbling in AI in India. So what really like got you inclined towards this field? Was there any specific thing in your college life or in your work that while you were doing your internships or projects maybe that made you interested in this field?
To be very specific or not to be very specific, there was not something that that can be said very pinpointedly. It was mostly like I did my bachelor's, right, in the physics, mathematics, and with the subject combination physics, mathematics, and computer science. Okay. So after that, I wanted to pursue a master's in computer science. Okay. Now, without any, I just wanted to have a master's. That's all. I did not think about it. Was in 2019, right, when I was looking for my master's. So I did not have anything. AI was not even a like kind of this big thing that time. There was also alongside that specialization like cybersecurity, data analytics, big data. These were also so as prominent as AI today is. Uh, so that time I was appearing in a lot of entrance examinations. Lots and lots, basically. So then when I got then I took the admission in an MSc course in Triple ITM Kerala. Okay, so there my specialization was machine intelligence. Okay, and that was that consisted everything right from AI, machine learning, everything. So that was my induction point basically to masters, and then I gradually was planning for a PhD as well in a niche domain called natural language processing in in artificial intelligence. So when I started writing papers, I think that was the time when I got very interested in pursuing this. um, yeah, so that's how I think my mentor was good that time, and things fell in place, and I gradually continued in this domain itself. Today, the interest has been, more branched, not just let's say AI, also thinking about how brain accurate model buildings. A lot of niche work I can do today. So yeah, that's how things are proceeded.
That's very interesting. I think one of the fundamental things that happened in this past couple of years is that large scale language models as well as a lot of generative AI components really expounded in the market, and it just scattered around a lot. So I think it became a very transitional thing as well for a lot of people who are going into these fields. But your profile does mention that you've been working with NLP and generative AI as you were mentioning. So in this broad sense, what does your work really highlight to you in terms of how the field has changed and what essentially is the field going towards currently?
Yeah, that's a nice question that I ask myself almost every day. So how things have changed, right? So when I started, right, I can see my career to be very, to be very specific, to be aligned with each and every point, every milestone that it is hitting. Okay, so when as I said, when I was in my masters, okay, so that time I could see that a lot of let's say if I could, let's say, take an example itself. For example, in this today you have a lot these large language models, right? That have where you can ask questions or just put a prompt and you can get an answer. Okay. But initially, when I was doing NLP, I was just into this research work and everything. Uh, that time, the race was all about that. How could we encode text? Okay, so if there is a text representation, I cannot push that directly into a computational model, right? I need to encode it into a set of numbers, right? So that was the race all about. That how could we capture the how the meaning, semantics, and everything of the text, right? We could capture into encodings. How beautifully we could do it, how efficiently, how more manipulatively we could do it, so that each and every property of a text could be captured, and that could be stored as a encoding. So that was the race about, and that was Google was also fighting for it. OpenAI was that time in a stealth kind of situation, mode, but Google, Microsoft, each one had their own embedding, and few of my early papers was based on these things only, like comparisons between embeddings, creating a tweaked version of Google embeddings. These were the kinds of things that I was doing. Now when I see today, and also over the years, right, there was generative models. Uh, Today it seems like it's as if new, but it's not very new also. It's a paper in 2017 called Attention is All You Need. Okay, and that was the paper on which each and everything today, the GPTs and everything, that is based on that same paper. So generative models is something that has stayed for a very long time. Generative models is simply, I would say it like this, very, since a part of my work goes into teaching as well. So I just explain it like this, that let's say if there had been classification, okay. So for a very long time, artificial intelligence was mostly regression and classification. Okay. So if I give a model some photographs saying these are dogs, these are cats, and then I ask the model, can you now predict for me if I show you a new photograph, can you say that is it a dog or a cat? So it should be able to classify that. So that was the capacity that the model had, nothing more than that. Today, mainly what it can do is it can not just say whether it's a dog or a cat, or whether it's a positive text or a negative or a neutral kind of a tone. It can also it can also generate more text out of the given text. So those generative models were there, but that was one more milestone. After encodings came the race on generative models, and gradually the focus shifted on making generative models for text. So today it's also agentic AI that has been over the place, like autonomous agents and everything. But over the years, it has shifted up quite a bit. If you see the job descriptions also, today almost 50%. If you just go to the LinkedIn's those insights or anything, they would show you that 50% is like traditional AI, and 50% has been already taken over by Gen AI. Just analyzing the keywords on job descriptions. So yeah, the field has changed quite a bit, and good thing is that for us, like how who has a foundation in data science and AI, we are always like when I put it like this, just like when the Llama 2 model was launched by Meta, just 2 days later I was using it in my own production work. So that's how that is also evolving, and our careers are also evolving in this way.
Very interesting. I think that the next part that we sort of want to discuss is, since you know there is a lot of changes that are happening in the world, so foundational sciences maybe are very different from how, say, AI is being, say, taken into account, right? Because foundational sciences like physics, chemistry, they don't really go through iterations so quickly as much as AI and Gen AI and other sort of fields associated around it is. So does it like present a unique opportunity for people like you, because you've been mentioning a couple of research projects, so it must definitely give you a lot of like scope for thinking deeply into these areas, but also approaching these fields in a more nuanced manner. And also sometimes the pace might be very high because there is so many changes happening, there is so many people now involved in this field. So how do you accommodate those ideas also in your work?
A part of, I mean, how I try to put it is like, yeah, so you're right. You mentioned it rightly that there had been foundational sciences, like for example, physics, chemistry. I mean, that has become quite such. And the now kind of iterations that it has is quite slow, right, compared to how AI is expanding these days. And the good, it's an observation that might be very evident today, right? But if since I have read those papers that gave I mean, very foundational standpoint in data science in AI, it has been right from the start itself, right? I mean, just a small tweak in something like, for example, if you change the way of encoding from, let's say, a binary to numbers, not the zeros and ones, that could have been a paper few years back. Okay. So the scope of having a good or quite impactful paper in data science is much larger, is much probabilistic than if it had been in physics. Or it also mostly depends. It also mostly reasons, I mean, comes because of this, that physics, chemistry, or foundational biology, or these sciences, that has been growing. I mean, it traces back to a very long period of time. Right? It has gone through a, I mean, since, I mean, for many decades, from not for many centuries, it has been, these all have been evolving. Right? So today it has reached a point that you need to do a lot of leap to just come to a breakthrough. Whereas in AI, there are particularly two things basically. So one thing is that artificial intelligence is mostly today, how it is mostly based on mathematics. Okay, uh, so the base of it is mathematics, right? So you do not need to actually do something very fundamental uh, to create up a good paper in AI today. Uh, you have a strong foundation of mathematics because that groundwork is done by the mathematicians, and we can use that. And in the process, if we want to turn that, twist that, we can also do that. Like for example, if I want to expand, if I want to do a if I want to if I want to combine two things together in conceptually in mathematics. Let's say I do a some two things, a series and a transform, different kinds of transform, Fourier transform course. So all these things, if I just combine it together, so you see the fundamental part is in mathematics, right? I can use a lot of those applications to create up AI here, and that would be good work. That would be actually a very good work. So that's how the iterations here are much faster, because there has been a lot of effort that has been put in mathematics part of it, branches out to statistics as well, but mostly in mathematics part of it. And if put plainly, AI today is mostly, I mean, most of the AI today is deep learning, and that deep learning part of it is totally calculus. Okay, so that calculus being very already or very foundationally strong, we can always use that, rely on that. And all these, if you see what is going on behind chat gpt, is plain and simple calculus. Okay, so that's how it's much, I mean, much faster to do something on AI. Having said that, last one point would be that, although uh, basing something on, let's say, uh, these, for example, mathematics, statistics, these all foundational works, uh, that can get us a faster result, that can also get us a good efficient results. But at the end of it, it's a converse. We are calling it an intelligence, right? Although it's a technology, but at the end of it, it's also an intelligence. So there has it. It's a alternative for human intelligence. It's right, I mean, righteously an alternative for human intelligence. So a large part of it would be coming from the understanding of brain and neuroscience. Okay, uh, which, to be frank, we have, I mean, all these GPTs or whatever is not based on that. Okay, there have been startups, there have been good organizations who have been working on that. So doing a doing an AI there on neuroscientific, on neuroscience field of neuroscience, based on neuroscience, brain accurate way, how the world, I mean, how the community calls it, that is something really foundational. Okay, so there you would not see a lot of iterations so fast, but on foundational mathematics, it's fast. Even few of my papers also is based on a synergy between basic sciences and this natural language processing, mostly physics and natural language processing. So yeah, that's the analysis of it.
So you've worked so extensively with NLPs as well, and you've done a lot of projects, including LLM bots and document analysis. If you would have to notice, what are the current challenges that you see that you have in applying NLP to real world problems, and what are the essential transitional things in this next section, if we can discuss?
See, today, the conversational AI, or let's say generative AI, is most. I mean, the conversational AI is totally generative AI today. Uh, Previously, there used to be. So I could maybe start like this. I mean, with kind of analysis like this. Previously, when we used to create bots, okay, for example, on the framework which was very popular called Rasa. Okay, so on Rasa framework, creating up a chatbot, all these chatbots, right, that were there for all the organizations, all the companies that used to have Rasa chatbot. Okay, so Rasa chatbot, if you had seen the Domino's chatbot before, it was something like, or any chatbot, for example, you would go to the chatbot and there would be some options that, do you want a refund related query or this, that, and based on your options, it goes through a decisioning system, right? From here, then here, then here, then here, then that's the way it would work. But today the thing is, you can ask a real time. I mean, you can ask in a natural language, and it would give you an answer. Right? So NLP has evolved like this. NLP and generative AI has got a very strong tie up between these two things over the last few years. Although in generative AI, it's not just NLP that is generative AI. There has been, if you see Sora, or if you see model is Sora, stable diffusion. So all these are also image generative models. Okay, uh, but a large part of generative AI, how we use it, is in NLP itself. That's the reason for it is mostly business reasons. How people want to adopt it, how companies, large companies, organizations want to adopt it. There's a lot of benefit in creating chatbots than creating image mod. I mean, core images or whatever it is. And also, if you just think about it, uh, images, what is text is not just, I mean, it can be comprehended as a text that can be shown as output, but alongside that, text can be thought as I mean, a chain of thoughts, right? From one text comes another text, just like how our brains work. If I think something, then from that thought triggers another thought, then from that thought triggers another thought. So from one, let's say I give something to Chat GPT or whichever model, and it generates something. Okay, now if I say that, okay, take this as a thought, and you generate one more on top of this. Okay, and take whatever is generated next. I take that and say that this is something, and you generate again on top of it. Okay. So that creates a chain of thought consecutively, and that is how agents work. Okay. So in NLP, I mean, using NLP and generative AI, this collaboration, this power, has a large long time. I mean, this has a long term, what do you say, trajectory. And over the last 3 years almost, it has been like that only, ever since GPT 3.5 was there, today up to GPT 4.0 mini or all these. And NLP has seen a lot of progress with generative AI.
You worked on various different challenges as well as different industries. One of them being healthcare. You've also developed something called Vilokana. You were at least actively part in the development of the same. So, how do you see the entire analysis of these particular segments? Like, how have you gone through making this an AI solution? What was your involvement, and what were the things that you learned when you were making solutions for things like COVID-19 and emerging or evolving crisis like the COVID-19 pandemic?
So I did that project in 2019, okay, during the first phase of COVID, when COVID hit India. So I was that time in Kerala, and I did not come back home. I stayed. I mean, decided to stay back there and work with the group that I was working with. So yeah, so the project that I had done, I mean, we had done that time was rightly said Vilokana. It was a search engine. Okay, it was an AI COVID search engine, and as I said, right, the evolution that time, I mean, there was not a trace of generative AI models or anything. I mean, or text-based generative AI models to be specific, which could give you answers in such a summarized manner. Okay, we had thought of to create a search engine itself that was, I mean, based on, let's say, how Google does it, not summarization, just be, taking out text, that's it. So that time we had, I mean, I think from Stanford, if I'm not wrong, but for us it was, I mean, we have a platform called Kaggle, right? So from Kaggle, we had a COVID open research data set, okay, which had 50K published articles on COVID research from different perspectives: medical perspective, demographic, economic, all these perspectives. And what we thought is, let's create a search engine such that with all these assimilation, with all these research articles assimilated, and whenever someone comes, it would be helpful for the researchers as well, the frontline workers, and mostly the medical researchers, and also economic researchers who want to use this this one this kind of a tool. And we did an initial survey also with different universities, looking that would this be actually helpful in this time of crisis. What do you think? So we had a lot of feedback saying that, and we got a lot of insights also, like for example, we were thinking that maybe this was something that we could post as a good project, hackathon project, but it looked like that people are already doing it. For example, South Korea, they had created Vilokana Ask. Okay, so we got to know this from a lot of surveys that we are doing, that people are telling us that, yeah, a lot of people are already doing it. And we, when it got mentioned in an article of Nature Journal later, that time alongside all these COVID Explorer that Google had, um, Korea, the government of South Korea had pushed for a project for this one, COVID Ask. Alongside that, our project was also mentioned, Vilokana from India. So it was it that that's what was not our goal, but somehow that could create impact. And what we brought into I mean into the ecosystem was a search engine, which was a kind of COVID specific AI search engine. If I ask any question, it would not just give me the results of it; it would also give me a lot of analysis of it, saying that. You see, if you're asking, let's say, for example, any country to be specific, has COVID hit this particular country, it would not only give you the results, it will also tell you that there's a positive sentiment or a negative sentiment around it. It would also give you a synopsis, a summary of it. If someone wants to now open that particular link, being interested in that summary, he can do that. Or if he can wants to skip to the next article, that also he can do. So it saved a lot of time, right? And the feedbacks that we got later from the medical researchers, we mostly collaborated. So this was also pushed by government of Kerala. So all the what do you say, the institution, medical institutions there, they were looking at our project, and they were researchers were using those projects, the students there, professors there, they were using that this project, and the feedback that we got, these tools stood out more than the conventional search that was there. So technically, the AI powered version of it was the most impactful one. Yeah, that's how Vilokana was.
AI and machine learning can be leveraged across different industries as well. One specifically, when you worked on the healthcare industry for so long, did you find anything which was like a barrier towards the adoption of AI and machine learning in healthcare? Do you think that in the future healthcare can benefit from utilizing more AI and say things like NLPs and large scale generative AI products?
The first two industries, okay, that always takes a benefit from technologies, okay, not just AI to be specific, but any kinds of technologies, and that rightly should be the standard. Uh, Education and healthcare. Okay. So these two things should always be benefiting the first, okay, because these are the prime uh, entities or prime things that humans mankind needs, and it's good. I mean, for me personally, it's a matter of fortune that I have been initially in healthcare, and today I try my best to also attach myself with edtechs, and over the last 2 years I have been collaborating with edtechs to provide AI education. Okay. Uh, in healthcare, specifically, yes, there's a lot of scope, and we have been seeing this right from not just generative AI. Whenever anything has happened in AI, right from statistical models, I'm not also talking about machine learning, right from statistical models like Bayesian models, probabilistic models, right from that time, if you could, let's say, predict the probability of a disease, okay, uh, that was also a huge achievement, and we still have those models in repo, which we look at, take inspiration from, and try to build models specifically for healthcare. So whenever there has been something in AI, any advancement, from statistical models to machine learning to, let's say, these encodings that I was talking about. Okay, so in these encodings also, very, I mean, you could we could understand from this itself, there had been an encoding called BERT, okay, BERT, bidirectional encoder representation for transformers, okay, from Google. Okay, so Google enhanced their search engine power by bringing bot encoding system into the pipeline, and giving away, I mean, abandoning the previous age-old system, which was a different kind of a system. But when bot came, there the first modified version of bot was medical bot, okay, which was encoding which could capture the semantics and meanings from medical texts, just medical text, specifically for this domain. Okay, so that's how, I mean, everything in AI, right from machine learning models, how machine learning models can help, it can always predict, right, the probabilities of things. Machine learning models are basically Bayesian statistical models. So they always predict that can there be a probability of a disease of to this person, okay, looking at his various factors, uh, his health factors, his neighboring people, all those things. Can there be, let's say, in healthcare, there is a very important, good, uh, popular conventional project called no-show prediction, right? Whether a person would turn up for an appointment or not turn up for an appointment, that helps a lot of clinics. So you see, machine learning comes with a lot of grace in solving these things. Then you have deep learning, right? In deep learning, these texts can be analyzed, and not just text, numbers, various kinds of numbers can be analyzed, and can help you reach to same as well as more nuanced details about things. Then you have deep learning backed computer vision. Then you have deep learning backed NLP. You have a lot of x-rays, you have a lot of bills, diagnostic documents, and lots of things, right? And you want to analyze those things, that if I have an x-ray, If I just put it under the scanner, I'm talking about a computer vision scanner, uh, and just looking at that X-ray, my model is so trained by looking at many X-rays by that time for this particular X-ray to tell you exactly where is what is the problem, where is the fracture, which point, which vertebra or whatever is broken, it will tell you, and what is the kind of fracture, hairline fracture or a major fracture. This kind of precision can be achieved, right? So each and every branch of artificial intelligence has a lot to contribute to healthcare, and that's a good thing. Healthcare and education should always have the first priority.
I think there is a lot of scope beyond, say, healthcare as well. You mentioned edtech. We'll talk about edtech in a bit of time. But do you think that beyond healthcare and edtech, also there are other applications which give AI solutions so much importance? Because I think in other industries as well, there are solutions which are very necessary, which are either based on AI or machine learning or other models. But there are also, say, other things that are probably going to be very important to perceive as well. Like there might be challenges in employability, there might be challenges in workforce reduction and other things. So how do you see the scope of these things over the expanded domain of, say, other work areas or other industries, and how have you seen this like landscape change over time?
Yeah, I mean, rightly, I mean, artificial intelligence has set its footprints without a doubt on each and every domain. Okay. Uh, all the industries. I mean, I can't just pinpoint anyone because each and every industry, okay, has leveraged, has accepted AI, and there is a reason for that. I mean, it's just not plain automation; it's intelligent thinking, right? Bringing intelligence to your systems and creating more systems, which was not possible before. Okay, so one thing is powering your current systems intelligently using intelligence. Another thing is creating more systems this way. So each and every domain, right from manufacturing, I have specifically, if I were to mention, I had worked starting from, yes, healthcare. Uh, then I had worked for quite a bit of time in e-commerce, and then I worked for quite a bit of time in also alongside obviously, uh, SaaS, creating software as a service. So basically creating products, creating services. So that is always there. But if I were to talk about the domains, healthcare, e-commerce, and manufacturing over the last and in the current scope, uh, these domains I've seen from a very close purview. But apart from that, all the domains, be it space, be it defense, be it whatever it is, uh, any kind of domain, publishing, right? Even the papers that we publish, right, the papers are on AI, and where we publish it, they're also using AI to do a lot of spell checks, not just spell checks, to do a lot of checks, to do a lot of even the funny thing about this is let's say, is there a plagiarism or not, is a AI generated text or not, how do you detect it? Using AI, right? So you put parsers there and you see that is it generated by AI. Those softwares are also built by AI, I mean using AI. So yeah, so in each and every domain, there's a good adoption in AI. Uh, on one side, where research is one field, the industry is another field, right? And though both the things have has to go hand in hand. That's one of the very and it's one of the prime realizations that I have been having over the last few years, because I was from a research background only. But then I shifted my focus to come into this completely industry oriented background. And I always try to merge uh, to and fro, right? If I do something in my organization, I push forward that can I publish it? Can we publish it? Always. Uh, if you think that it has a potential, provide me a let's patent it. If you think that okay, there's obviously a lot of decisions. It's not always in the data scientist's hand, but if we can publish it, that's always the best. And I always do the other thing also, looking at the research papers. If anything that can be adopted, let's build it from scratch. Okay, so these are two things always goes hand in hand, and for every industry. Right?
True. I think there is a lot of conversation to be had about how applications of AI and everything. Of course, I think something hit really close to home when you said that there are plagiarism checkers who are using like Turnitin and other platforms are there who are using AI themselves to actually find AI detected content, and it becomes such a big conundrum to understand where does the part end and where does it begin. So there are different aspects of this entire nuanced programs as well. I think there are a lot of other conversations to be had along with it. Just due to paucity of time, let's move on to the next section. The next section, basically, I would like to discuss a bit more about your work around education and the community space as well. So you've mentioned previously also that you've worked in EdTech, and I've also seen that your work around education and AI also are very interesting. So do you think there are anything which are like key in terms of getting knowledge or that aspiring data scientists need to have when they're going in and trying to learn about AI, which they need to be very focused upon? And what do you think that is the next step for AI professionals, which is in the field of say tech?
I have two distinct views on it. Okay, uh, on one side you would see, as you were mentioning, that on one side you would see me very attached to the edtech part of it, uh, where I teach. Uh, so mostly, I have been based in Hyderabad for the last three 3 years, 4 years now. So mostly all the techs in Hyderabad I have been very closely attached. Okay, and few also in Bangalore. Now, how the, I mean, it would be something contradicting my own work itself, but I would still do that. Uh, on one hand, there would be, let's say, a lot of courses, right, that would be very structured, uh, right from end to end or start to end. You start from very basics and then you build on top of those things. You start from the basics of statistics, maths, basic maths, Python, then you gradually build a lot of things. And that's how I also teach, but I always try to at least bring a little bit of more things into it. We'll gradually discuss that. But that is one way of understanding it, one way of teaching it. It goes both ways, right? I just teach and people understand. Always doesn't happen. So teaching and understanding goes both the ways. That is one way of it, right? But how I myself have done it, and if I had to freely give someone uh, a guide, I mean, a kind of exposure to this, okay, uh, that would be plainly, bravely, without any pre-assumed thought in the mind that am I good in mathematics, am I good in statistics. These are the blockers, right? Let's forget it. Okay, let's focus on a task, let's focus on an objective. Okay, so how I started it, for my case it was, uh, I thought of, can I build an automated dictionary? That was my first project in masters. That I, let's say, give a this particular word, and it would give me the form of suggested words. It looks like today very basic, but for that time when there was no generative AI or whatever that is, and I was building my first AI project. Okay, so that time, just to build that, I mean, I just thought about it, that can I build it? That's it. Okay, and I looked at how can it be done. Okay, so I'm just providing this example to provide the kind of thought, right, that comes and that helps. Uh, so I looked at, okay, so is there any already code available for this? So I looked at Python, and I had done Java before, I had done C++, C, all these things before. But for Python, I had been doing, not for the first time, but I mean, that, I mean, that time itself I had started looking at Python. A lot of things were not understandable to me, but still I just looked at the code. I didn't understand a lot of things. I took that code, put it on the compiler, whatever I was using, ran that code, and it ran. Okay, because someone had already done it, so it would run. But so I have a code, I got the result. All I need to now is I need to understand how did it happen. So once you have something, you get some confidence that I am learning something that is already running. So my knowledge will not go to waste. Okay. So I then gradually learned it. I looked at some word that I did not know, maybe let's say a library that I did not know. I searched that word. Okay. And a good thing is these days, the programming languages, the high level languages, Python, all these things are very close to English. These are high level languages. So if you know the English meaning of it, you already know import, for example. And just to give an example, import means import, take it into the programming, into wherever you're doing it, doing the coding. That's how things become much simpler. So then I looked at, okay, so this is one thing I have done. Okay, fine. Then let's say I try to do that, which my professors had done for me. That is, they had done a lot of hand holding with me. Uh, and that was my this also, that I didn't leave, okay, unless I had some answer that would keep me engaged for the next few days. Okay. So I would go back and say, this is what I have done. Can you give me more suggestions to maybe enhance it? So they would say that from there itself I came to know about, let's say, BOT. Okay, so one of my professors told me about BOT, that the BOT is something. Just look about it. So I just read about it. Again, did not know and understand a lot of things. Again, so this way, I gradually got interested into NLP. So people, how they do it, and most of the people, that's not wrong, and courses, degrees, they first teach data science, they first teach machine learning. But for me and lots of people, they all people have different kinds of pathways of learning. Right? First thing that I learned was NLP. Okay, and then when I switched into the industry, I did my first data science project when I switched into the industry. Okay, before that I had been doing complete NLP because I was planning a PhD also in NLP. So that is something that I would always encourage, even more than a structured way of learning, because that is where your mind, I mean, our mind gets uh, very engaged. That I have a task, I have an objective. So what to do for this? What to do for this? And that gives us a fuel from inside, right? So this is the way I think. No blocker. Mathematics won't block us. Statistics won't block us. The only thing is, if you need anywhere mathematics, go learn it. Right? Everything is very foundational. It will take time, and for everyone, it takes time. Okay, it would take 4 years, 5 years. Even if it takes 4 years, 5 years, give it that time. In that meantime, if you have to do some other occupation, do it for your own. But uh, it takes time for each and every one. It takes time. For me also it had taken time, for my seniors also it had taken time, for my juniors also it will take time, and for everyone it will take time. So that's the way. So, and not bashing any course. If you are inclined to it, if anyone is inclined to any course, courses are designed in very very good ways, very structured ways. I have designed a course myself with one of the techs, where people, I mean, so we always try to put in pedagogy more than just jargons, right? That this is the way we would take things forward. Okay? So typically each course varies for, let's say, 4 to 5 months, or end to end entire course. So always, if someone is looking for a course, also take a very let's take a very detailed course. Okay? Where it would be a well thought out course. So looking at the curriculum, let's suggest with someone. That is one way of learning. Second alternative is learning is just do it by yourself, and that will fuel from inside.
Perfect. I think there is also a conversation around how accessibility is there in terms of education through the utilization of AI and other tools. So there's this entire conundrum that okay, education might not be that accessible towards people, say maybe in poorer sections of society, or do not have access to institutional learning and other places. Do you think there's any chance that AI and other models or another spheres of operation which you have seen in this edtech sector can increase this conversation about accessibility and bring accessibility to education?
The first thought, the first thing that we have to think before we come to, let's say, AI helping you, is that do you have an internet, right? And if you have an internet, yes, then uh, AI can be used. to get a large access to affordable quality education. Okay, uh, it's just like I've not I've come to AI, but before that, I would like to highlight a few efforts by other committees also. I mean, other organizations also, right? Uh, who go beyond and who do a lot of work to provide free courses and quality education. For example, Cambridge has its own letters. I mean, in YouTube, if anyone had to learn machine learning or this or whatever, right? Cambridge has an entire tutorial that could provide a lot of free education and good quality education. In our country itself, all the IITs together has brought up a platform NPTEL or NTPEL. Yeah, so you can just search. Forgot the entire and full form of that, but that is one more place. So you see, there's a lot of, if you just have internet, the entire thing is in your reach. Okay, so I'm just breaking it down in this way because I'm just trying to make a point. I'm just trying to put that it's not hard. Okay? You just need internet. That's all. Okay? It looks hard, but it's already in your access. Instead of looking at other things in the YouTube, let's go to the YouTube and find a good tutorial. For example, let's say if you want to learn machine learning, go to StatQuest by Josh Stormer. Okay, if you want to have a very good interview preparation for cracking AI interviews, go to Krish Nayak's interview preparation videos. Similarly, if you want to learn deep learning, go to something Deep Lizard or Three Blue One Brown. These are all channels. We all know what are YouTube channels. Instead of looking at other YouTube channels, let's look at these YouTube channels, or even better YouTube channels if you find it. So that's all just, so it's already there, right? All the resources that we need is all there, and that can give you a solid foundation in AI and can literally legitimately help you to crack interviews, and it's tried and tested. Okay, so that's one thing. So it's there with internet. Now coming to, can AI help us? Yes, chat gpt itself is a very good tutor. Okay, even for our coding today, I am talking about coding, not also simple, let's say, or traditional, let's not call it simple, but let's say for traditional understanding, I'm not also talking about that. I'm talking about coding, complex to complex codings that we do today, which goes to production to build scalable systems. These kinds of big codings also, we try to get a good understanding of that from ChatGPT, right? And ChatGPT is not the only place where you can question something and get an answer real time. There is Gemini, there is Claude, there is Grok, lots of places, right? Perplexity is also there. So these all places, how these would also help you more is, what is the contrast between looking at a YouTube video and understanding and looking at here. You can ask the exact direct pinpointed question that you want to ask. Okay, which on YouTube you cannot ask the person who is teaching. He will not be able to answer it because that's a recorded video, or even if it's live. Uh, but here, if you just ask it, it would be your personal tutor and it would be helping you. It would give you an answer. If you say that I don't understand this part, for example, we do it in development that, let's say, it has suggested something, I don't understand that part. I ask that, is it really necessary, or I was thinking like that. That is legitimately just like I ask a friend, I ask ChatGPT. Okay, or Gemini, whoever. Uh, and it again breaks it down, saying that, okay, let me break it down for you, and this is the way the conversation goes. So it's like a friendly conversation, right? And always, how it is, it's just like a analogy that learning from a teacher is good, but learning from a friend is always easier. So that's what these LLM models, these large language models are. So that's how accessible AI, I mean, education can be today. You just need internet and you just need chatgpt.com or gemini.com.
Very true. I think there is an evolving landscape in terms of how education is perceived and how education is panning out today in the world. So that was a very interesting discussion. There were so many insightful things about healthcare education and natural language processing models and LLMs and generative AI. Just as we come to the close, could you give us some final thoughts or recommendations to us students who want to pursue data science or generative AI, and your final thoughts about the entire perspective of say AI and the way it operates in the world today?
The thing that I'll still like to iterate is on, first thing is three words, right? Go for it. Okay. Uh, Without any blocker in mind. Why I'm stressing this so much is whenever I talk to people, my students or my juniors or wherever, right, uh, this is something that I always get back, right? Even my own, uh, I mean, in my in my own, let's say, close circle, or students are all they are. So when I teach, let's say there's a different all kinds of age groups. So uh, there most all many of them are BTech students. Okay, in a different EdTech, that's the fashion that they bring in BTech EdTechs. In a very niche EdTech organization, whom I have been associated with quite long now, almost 2 years. EdTech associations, 2 years is a pretty long time because there's always this, that, things changing, right? Syllabus changing, and trainers drop out sometimes. The organization doesn't like the trainer anymore, so that is always there, right, in the EdTech industry, and you can't. You have to live with that. Okay, uh, but so looking at all these batches, basically all the kinds of age groups, all the kinds of backgrounds, there has been working professionals, there has been students, there has been I've hardly talked to school students, but I've talked to BTech students, I've talked to other bachelor's master's students, and working professionals mostly. Yes, uh, but still, from each of them, one thing that comes out as a common resonating thought is maths required? Okay, so I wholly want to address this point. Yes, maths is required, but it is not a blocker. Okay, uh, uh, you just start with it, and on the way, as you need, you can learn it. It's always learnable. It's always learnable. Okay? And good thing about AI today is it has a lot of scope. It is here to stay, and it will be a very long term thing. Okay, uh, if you have a career in AI, uh, look for, if you're looking for a career in AI, look for always the fun of it. Okay, it's not a traditional job. It is a technology, but it's at the same time intelligence. We have not also talked about the brain part of it, but if anyone is actually interested and starts looking, um, I have a book right here itself. Okay, so I read it. I've been reading it for the last 2 weeks now. It's called. I'll show you this right away. This is the book, okay, The Brain by David Eagleman. So uh, this is why do I need to learn about human brain? No, to be very specific, to do AI today at least. Okay, so things evolve so much, your interest evolves so much that you think about how to take it beyond what is already there. So that's the fun of AI. So look for always the fun in AI, and not look for the rote learning of it. That will also help you in the long run, and that will take you miles ahead than what you can even imagine of. Okay, and last point that I want to, if there were 3 points, one is don't be afraid of anything. Okay, whenever there's time to learn it, whenever there's the opportunity to learn it, simple, then finish it off. Second thing is, uh, do the fun, do it for the fun of it. Okay. If you are having fun, opportunities will keep on coming. It will come like, I mean, you would not be able to accommodate if you are in the learning spree of it. Okay. And third thing is that AI has a very good research forefront. Okay. Because as we were discussing in the first part of it, that the kind of iteration AI is seeing, no other field is seeing that. Okay. So the way you could research and publish papers at a very early age in AI, uh, that scope is manifolds. That scope is much larger than any other field. So even if you're in school, okay, in school, I would encourage even school students to start thinking about writing papers. Okay. This is very, very important. This is very, very, this will take you miles ahead. And a paper publication at a very early age gives you a lot of confidence to go forward. You see why research is a good way to start, because research is a level playing field. For a job, you need to graduate, you need so and so clear interviews. For a research, you do not need that. You just need ideas, and you need some help to write it down. That is definitely there. ChatGPT will help you, but do not take it from ChatGPT, or some other person will also help you. There will be a lot of people who can write well. So publish in some low rank articles, journals initially, then aim for high end journals. And that's a very good level playing field. So if you want to have an achievement, better than looking for certificates or anything, looking for anyone's approval, go and publish in a research art journal, and that will give you a lot of boost in your career.
Definitely. So, thank you so much for your wonderful insights across the board. I'm pretty sure the viewers and listeners would have a lot to take away from the discussion that we have had today. Again, thank you once again for agreeing to come on as our guest, and we hope that we can have you again soon.
Sure, sure. Thanks, Kaushik, for having me here. I mean, I looked at the last two articles, not, I mean, the last two videos, and you are doing a very, I mean, deep conversations. And I think a lot of, I mean, there needs to be a lot of, a lot of digging into the mind of people, of good people, and also that could actually benefit the society on a very large scale. So, and that would come by conversations, and podcasting is a very nice way of doing that. So conversing, let's keep doing conversations.
Very
Yeah.
true. That is something that we intended very much to do. That we have a lot of people who have interesting stories and interesting discussions, and we want to give them a chance to come and talk about them, because a lot of people don't have awareness about things which are seemingly complicated, but not so much. So it can be something which is very easily approachable too. So again, thank you so much for making things like this come true and work with us.
Thank you so much.